What a rally at the end of the day. Well, a lot of buyers coming in anyway. Courtney Donohoe joins us from the New York Stock Exchange. Courtney, did this come out of nowhere? What fueled the sudden buying?
Well, the S&P, as you said, Pimm, finishing the day just a smidge higher in the closing minutes. Some investor saying that it was a technical rebound that paired the losses, and that's because the S&P held above its February low. But another factor that also helped, Barney Frank saying regulation that would require banks to wall off their swaps trading desk goes a little too far. But through most of the day, we saw stocks under pressure, the Dow plunging as much as 292 points in the early morning trade. But not only is there a continuing concern about the ongoing debt situation in Europe, investors pricing in a much weaker global growth environment. We're seeing LIBOR spiking, showing credit is slowing. Plus, to top it all off, political tensions in Asia are rising. Reports that North Korea's Kim Jong-il ordered the military to be ready for combat. But even though the Dow finished the day just slightly lower, we're still above 10K. And materials, best performing group today, Pimm.
All right, but Courtney, earlier today when stocks were lower, when there were all those sellers trading, reporting to what? A disappointing report on home prices, right?
Yeah, and that played into that earlier drop that we saw. The S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index rose 2.3%. Less than forecast, but also there was a separate report on prices from the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and that showing home prices fell a little more than 3% from a year earlier. But that drop was double the decline from the fourth quarter, and this could mean that the housing market still showing signs of weakness, even with mortgage rates at historical lows. But some economists, they're telling us that we're going to continue to see pain for the housing markets because of the expiration for the home buyer tax credit. That support for the market's gone, so the question is there going to be more pain ahead for housing?
All right, but what about a shining star? Isn't there one equity you want to talk about? AutoZone touching a 52-week high. Give us the details, Courtney.
Rising to a record, actually, Pimm. The retailer reporting third quarter profit at $4.12 a share, and that topped estimates by about 15%. But people are buying more replacement parts for their cars. They don't want to shell out more money for a new car, but also helping the company several new store openings.
All right, but Courtney, before we let you go or introduce a couple of expert technical strategists, what are you hearing from the trading floor from a technical standpoint? What levels are they watching?
Well, not a pretty picture we're seeing, Pimm. John Roque, he spoke to Tom Keene. He also spoke to Ken Pruitt earlier on surveillance, and he's the chief technical strategist at WJB Capital Group. And he says the corrective phase of the markets isn't over yet. He said the percentage of NYSE stocks above their 200-day moving average through yesterday was still at 46%. And in the last 16 years, he points out that the market hasn't recorded important oversold readings until that figure got to at least below 35%. But Phil Roth of Miller Tabak, he says the S&P may be in the process of bottoming out after moving below the intraday low of the May 6 crash. He says emotional trading on the undercut low with increasing trader pessimism can lead to a temporary bottom. But he does point out that the market needs to produce a rally on rising volumes to confirm the end of the current drop. Pimm.
All right, thank you very much. Courtney Donohoe reporting from the NYSE.